Hey guys, how you doing? This is JT from JT Coin Rings, where I turn coins into rings and talk all things precious metals. Today, I'm answering the question, why do men wear rings on their pinky fingers? And I'll answer that question when I come back.
Woo! JT Coin Rings.
Guys, thank you for joining me. I appreciate you coming back to me. Let's do a little housekeeping, right? Let's make sure you hit that like button. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps the algorithm and bring more people here so we can enjoy coin rings and talk all things precious metals. Today I want to answer the question, why do men wear rings on their pinky fingers? All through history, people wore rings on their pinky finger. You have dignitaries, jazz musicians. We have royalty like Prince Andrew, and we even have mafia. The mafia wore rings. So, but if there's a misconception, like when did it start? When did people start wearing rings on their pinky finger, and what does it mean? So, I found an article from the Gazette. So, I want to share that article with you and read a couple passages from it. Okay, we have this article from the Gentleman's Gazette, and it says, why do men wear rings on their pinky finger? For most modern history, men rings were always a symbol of wealth, social class, and prestige. Often they were worn to make specific statements, such as in a signet ring. If you go further back in history, you can see that men wore rings in basically any finger on both hands, including the index finger. In the 18th century, most men, especially in England, would wear rings only on their pinky finger. Later in Victorian times, men and women could wear pinky rings to indicate that they weren't interested in marriage. When wedding bands for men became more popular, oftentimes they would stash their signet ring and their wedding ring on the pinky finger of the same hand. Pretty interesting, right? But see, in the 20th century, a new approach of doing things came about. And it was much less about tradition and more about fashion and making a stylish statement. The same is true for the pinky rings. You can see the pinky rings worn by men in Paris through the jazz age, as we saw Sammy Davis Jr. rocking his pinky ring. It was just an expression of almost freedom and style. In the US, many wealthy Americans adhere to the British tradition of wearing their signet ring or their pinky ring on the left hand. That's also true for Franklin Roosevelt, who wore it again on the left pinky, right? So if you see here, you see Prince Andrew. He's rocking his pinky ring on his left hand. So a little later, American grifters and members of the mafia would wear a pinky ring to indicate their affiliation with certain organizations. Because of that, in the mind of some people, even today, the pinky ring has somewhat of a negative connotation, right? But just like with fashion in general, rules relax, and a lot after the end of World War II, of course, the English have always been more into their traditions. And even up until the 60s, for most men of certain class, it was unthinkable to wear anything but a pinky ring and maybe a simple pair of cufflinks. So as you see, the pinky ring was a level of style, as we saw early before the 20th century. It was Victorian, and men and women wore it, saying that he wasn't interested in marriage. And then it matured and evolved to something else, right? So here we go. The pinky ring was usually worn on the left pinky finger. For example, if you look at Prince Charles, he still does it today. He stashes his wedding band as well as his pinky ring on the left hand. Of course, there were also rebels such as Winston Churchill who would wear his signet ring on the ring finger of his right. If you like rings, if you like to wear them on your pinky finger or anyone else, you can just do it and just be fine. So, in conclusion, pinky rings today are more of a fashion statement, an expression of your style than they are associated with tradition or to display your social class or status. Traditionally, pinky rings came into a wide range of shapes. Often they had typical signet ring shape with a slimmer at the bottom band and then got wider, paired with some semi precious stone. So we see some signet rings here with some nice onyx stones in in the middle. Beautiful blue stones. They come in an array of styles. So it became a stylish thing, but you see that it came from tradition. It was steeped in tradition. Okay, pretty nice. Well, let's go here and ask the last question. Like, why should you wear a pinky ring? Basically, for the same reason you wear most of your clothes and accessory, simply because you like it and you want to express your own style. Keep in mind that not many other men were wearing pinky rings, so it's an easy way to set you apart from others. There's also no mechanical parts, so you don't have to service them like a watch. At the same time, they are less expensive than the wristwatch. That being said, it's always difficult to get the right size ring because most men rings are of larger diameter, and you either have to size them down at your local jeweler for a fee. You find that it is exactly the right size because that we want to create pinky rings that are classic, stylish, and affordable. So, guys, we see right there that pinky rings evolved from tradition to just a thing of style. Um, People still think of mobsters when they see pinky rings, especially. I had a post on my Instagram, and a gentleman said he wanted one of the rings to a pinky ring, and he basically said he would like to be a baller, so it was like a nice little classy thing. But guys, we know that signet rings can be pinky rings, but I'm going to introduce something a little different. Okay, we have here a coin ring. Now, this coin ring can have a story. As we have here, it's called like Peconia non olet, means money doesn't stink. You know what I'm saying? Was saying a phrase that, money has value no matter where it comes from. And I think this would be a cool pinky ring to wear, because this ring here has a story. It's a beautiful 0.999 fine silver ring, and it can be worn on the finger. And I'm going to show you how I look at it. See, this ring is nice and wide, a nice wide band, and the band is thick enough. And it kind of set you apart because you know that not many people is going to have that ring on. So that means that ring will have a story. And you can share, hey, this ring represents the emperor, the passion, and tell people about the story of money doesn't stink and how he taxed urine back in the day, and he was explaining to his son why money doesn't stink and the value of money, no matter where it comes from, is still good. So that right there is a story, something that sets you apart, and you can wear a nice, cool um, coin ring. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me for another episode of JT Coin Rings. I appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you comment below and let me know if this is your first time coming to my channel. And if it is, make sure you put a one or first in the comments so I can acknowledge you. Thank you. I'll see you guys later. Take care.
JT Coin